it's very easy to not take care of yourself and constantly be partying until like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I've had so many years go by just like that. And I'm really grateful to be able to have survived. At 15 years old, I overdosed on promethazine codeine. And
that's like lean, right?
Yeah. And I had like tubes down my lungs. A machine was breathing for me. And my parents were sitting in the waiting room and they had to call my parents in because they were understaffed. And they were like, if you want your son to survive, you have to come help.
You were living in Vancouver for a bit there. I think you had some struggles.
Oh, yeah. Vancouver, the city that chews you up and spits you out. It was a very weird time in life. When you're an artist, everyone's gonna want to party with the artist, but my priorities were not at all where they should have been. I had just come off of a tour with Two Rivers, moved down to Vancouver with all these huge plans, did none of it. The little devil in my brain was like, if you're gonna keep drinking, you'll end up on the street. I was like, boom, whoa. That was kind of like, what the fuck? You just thought about that? You actually considered that as an option?
Kiva, man, before we get into anything heavy, I want to start with who you are today. Because right now, you're creating music, producing, doing youth workshops, dancing, protecting the land, launching a brand. You're really building something meaningful. And I want people listening to understand that version of you first.
White Kochwaitep, Kiva MH. Hello, everybody. My name is Kiva Morgan Hall. Mika Morgan is my mother, and Rob Hall is my father. I was born in Kamloops, so-called British Columbia, right here, where we're at currently. And yes, I'm doing music, producing, doing youth workshops, a lot of youth work in my community. Recently picking up dancing again. I'll be traditionally dancing in Taiwan in the next week. We're going there on the 5th.
Sick.
And I'll be doing the International Indigenous Games, so I'll be performing there. It's been a long journey, but yeah, we out here still doing it.
Tell us more about going to Taiwan. That's crazy.
Taiwan. So yeah, I was contacted by my nation about a trip to Taiwan, and when I seen it in my email draft, I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy." And I kind of just I was like, I got a lot going on. Like, probably won't be able to make it. But I did give it like a slight consideration. But me and my cousin Dario, shout out cuz, he's we're very close. We're from the same community. We grew up skateboarding together. Also my little cousin Isaac, we were kind of like a little crew, snowboarding together. Mm-hmm. And so we do a lot working together, working for our nation every summer together for like 10 years, doing different jobs, whether it was vegetation surveys, archaeology, fisheries, like just working together, learning about the land, learning about everything. And after I kind of like read the email and said no, Dario contacted me and was like, "Hey, are you going to this Taiwan trip?" And I was like, "I don't know, man." And he was like, "Dude, it's a free trip to Taiwan. All expenses paid."
Yeah, how do you say no to that?
Like hotel paid for, and we get to compete in this. All you gotta do is compete in the games, and like that should be a cool thing, like representing your nation. So I was like, oh, you know what? That sounds really cool. And me and my cousin we're launching a brand. We're calling it Sacred. So we were just kind of in the midst of figuring out how to do that, and through that we had an idea of like, yo, they want to do swag for this trip. Let's pitch to them that we, like members of the own community, design the swag and print it for them. So that actually became our first printing order. And yeah, we're going to be going to Taiwan. I'm going to be competing in the canoe race, tug of war, and traditional singing and dancing. And I'm going to get to do it in front of I don't know how many people, but
sick. Okay,
pretty sick.
With your brand, are you doing like jumpsuits to wear, like tuned from the games, or
well, what we're doing for this, we kind of gave them like a bunch of mock-up designs. Like, this is what it could. We took the logo. Our logo is like a eagle and it has like a feather and a rose. And we kind of modernized it a little bit, made it a little different from what it was. And we gave them a few options, like this is what it could be. What do you guys want? And then they chose. And yeah, we just have like a bottom navy blue sweatpants and a kind of off-white or white top t-shirt and Sacred X like collaboration stuck towels, which is that's our nation. And then it's, on the back it says like Spirit in Motion. That was Dario's kind of little thing to put out there because, you know, we're doing stuff, putting the spirit in motion. So yeah, it was really cool.
What are you most excited for that trip?
So this year was my first time being outside of Canada. We went to Colombia to perform at a festival. We'll get into that after, but I've never been a big like I want to go travel to these places. I always thought, let me do something that brings me to those places. You know, I don't want to go out of my way to go to these places. Hopefully one day with what I do, I can, you know, get out there and make some money at the same time. So, but for this, I think it's just really enjoying my time with, because I'm going out there with family too, where there's a certain amount of people within the community that where everyone was given the opportunity, but there's only, I think, 26 people going. So it's not all from the same family, same community, but there's going to be family members that I'd probably have never had like one-on-one time with. And we're all going to be staying in like a similar hotel room, all in the same plane. So it's very like kind of just taking it as like a cool segment in like a movie, you know, like it's very kind of like surreal to me that we're doing this. So just enjoying it, and then I'm gonna take about like a little GoPro DJI or whatever. So like filming as much as I can. I'm really bad at filming. I like creating music. I like doing all that kind of stuff, but I'm really bad at filming. So I want to film as much as I can so we can get some content creation, rep the Sacred brand out there. There's also going to be an international Indigenous music festival happening while I'm out there, which is super just crazy because my mom does like an all Indigenous music festival called Two Rivers Remix. So we're going to go watch that festival while we're down there. So it's just like so much to absorb. So I just want to focus on like absorbing it all and not being all like stressed out in my head, scared about flying over the ocean.
Being present for it, right?
Yeah, being super present. Something I struggled with a lot in my endeavors in life is just being like here now.
Is there any way that you could sneak in and do a performance at that show?
But I was looking it up and it's so like tight. Like even to contact you have to like send an email that will be looked over by a bunch of people. But I'm definitely gonna do some networking down there and bring like a portfolio of Two Rivers Remix and what my mom does, and it's so important and it's so cool like within the community. Maybe we can do like a cultural exchange one day. I've also talked to Dario being like, yo, wait, maybe we can find like an open mic down there, you know, do a little, just for content creation, like do a little Kiva MH show in Taiwan.
Well, I mean, especially if there's already people there to listen to music at a festival. If you go out to like an open mic, you're probably going to have, you know, maybe one of the producers or something for one of those big shows that are going on there happens to be out and they hear you, and you never know who you're going to meet anywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
When do you take off for that trip then?
So we will be leaving on the Wednesday.
Like 3 days from now.
3 days from now, yeah. We'll be leaving on the 4th at 9 p.m. We got to be at the airport at 9 p.m. We leave at 12, and I believe it's like a 16-hour flight.
Yeah, it's when you're going overseas like that, it's a long haul.
Yeah, so I'm not too big on flying. Like, I don't love it. I don't hate it. I'm not like, but I do get like kind of the jitters a little bit before the flight. I'm not too big on flying over like huge open water.
Yeah, I'm not too good at flying either. We're taking off, and I used to have to fly lots for work. I used to work over in Ontario, and every time I'm white knuckle on the seat. I don't like roller coasters. You think about how high up you are, like, man, and you're in this giant pressurized cigar, basically.
Yeah, I don't mind boats. My logic behind it is like, humans can swim. As a human, we can swim. We may not survive in fucking cold water and how many kilometers from the nearest thing, but like we can swim. We can't fly.
No.
No matter how hard we try.
That plane's going down, you're going down.
Yeah, you're going down with it. So yeah.
That's super cool that you're headed over there and that your cousin was able to be like, dude, let's take this opportunity. Let's not waste it.
Yeah, he's someone. Yeah, definitely pushes me to like be like adventurous.
Yeah.
And just like, I think it's important to have those family members. Not that I was never not adventurous. I think he just, having those family members to kind of give you a little nudge.
Yeah.
Because we were always like, we used to work doing vegetation surveys at Maccabee Fossil Site.
Okay.
So it's right like about 15 minutes right before Cache Creek. There's a bunch of fossil beds, and we were doing vegetation surveys on those, just like kilometers. So we're pretty much, they drop us off at 8 a.m, little 15-year-old Kiva and Dario, and then they come pick us up at 4, all summer long, every day, and we're just running around the mountains essentially, trying to get to the next plot. And then, stopping, taking breaks sometimes, kicking rocks down the mountain, just being boys. So very adventurous. And then when we got older, we started snowboarding more, making sure with my younger family as well too. As an Indigenous person, like, community is so essential in our traditions and just our general like day-to-day life in many cultures, right? And involving our younger cousins too. Like, I would always go grab my younger cousin Isaac for winter break, bring out my little sister. Dario would come along. All of a sudden, we got a whole little gang going up the mountain at 6 a.m. to go freaking snowboard all day, and then coming back, and we're building snow jumps at home. Just being like that sense of adventure. So yeah, it's really cool. It's good to have those family members to kind of push you in the right direction when you're feeling lazy or I don't know.
Were you more of the introvert of the group growing up then? And he was more of the extrovert, or he was just sort of a little bit more kind of
I think
pushing?
I might have been more of an extrovert, and not to say that he was an introvert, but definitely growing up, he was very sports mentality.
Yeah.
Like a lot, like always, he's working out. He was really involved in hockey. He really loved hockey. And just always like doing stuff. And then when we started hanging out, I was like always into music. He started playing guitar, got really good really fast. And I was like, yo, you're pretty good at guitar. You should keep it up. And then we kind of just, it's like, it's a good relationship because we both bring a lot to the table. And we've just always worked together. Like, even we're not working for the nation anymore, but even now we're working for our uncle doing the renovation and demolition on the reservation. It sounds so funny when you say it. We're doing the renovation and demolition on the reservation. Yo, Kiva MH. We've just always been working together. So yeah, we thought, why not build a brand together and just keep going on that. Like,
you already vibe with someone and you've known your whole life, and why not continue making that relationship work, right?
Yeah. Like, I love the idea of the brand too, because it's not only just me and Dario. Like, the whole point of the brand is to showcase Indigenous art and not just like one kind of Indigenous art, because we're both from Secwepemc, but I'm also New Nulth. So there's like interior art we feel is not as widely showcased or known. When you think of like Indigenous art, a lot of people will think of like Haida or like just the West Coast style in general, that very like coastal style of art. And a lot of times it's not the interior. So we want to kind of take a deep dive into like, what is that? A lot of stuff has been lost through colonization, and we want to kind of like first take the time to make sure it's done properly, to make sure we're actually getting it accurately, but then also take those traditions and bring our like little modern twist on it, to show that we can we can make stuff our own and continue to respect our ancestors and the ones who paved the road for us.
Yeah. And then as well with that, with you being a younger person, with you kind of modernizing it, you can showcase it for the generation that's even younger than you. And then by bringing them more into it and they're more involved, then you can, broaden the horizons for celebrating the art that is.
Exactly. That's what the whole concept is about, it's so many people are just like scared to do stuff wrong that they ends up losing the tradition just by not doing it at all. So if we can just take it and it's also been like pounded into some of the youth brain to not practice their culture and tradition, to be cool or just to fit in general, like, so just bringing it as like back to like, wow, it feels good to do this, and wow, that's kind of cool, like that's some dope shit, damn, I want to do this, how do I get involved? Just bringing it back to like, to be proud of who we are and to be like, yo, we're still here and we can still do this.
I think a lot of youth, regardless of where they are, in the world, you're going to rebel against what your kind of parents are trying to push forward, right? And it's like, this is, part of our culture. Maybe it's a young Canadian with, Scottish heritage, and then their dad's wearing the kilt and playing the bagpipes, and they're like, I don't want to do any of that. And then they get older and they realize, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, like I'm actually a decent chunk Scottish.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I'm Secwepemc on my mom's side. I'm Secwepemc and Nulth, and on my dad's side, I'm Scottish, English, French, and I think like a tiny bit Irish.
Yeah.
So my uncle he wears the kilt. I don't think he plays the bagpipes. Yeah, not yet. But definitely growing up mixed too. Growing up mixed, but very melanin, very dark for a half breed, if you say it yourself. Was kind of different, like my sister, she's more fair skinned. So most people would never guess that I was mixed, and that I was actually like a very like 50% Western European. So that was kind of there was conversations like, are you not proud to be, you're Scottish, and you don't say that like on stage. And then there was also like a lot of just kind of like, not identity crisis, but feeling first resentful towards the white side of not my family, but the white side of myself, and not wanting to represent it because of the past and what had happened with colonization and with the genocide in Canada. And then getting older, just kind of realizing that I am what I am.
Yeah. And
there is like really cool culture in the other side as well. And just kind of like taking it all and being all right with all of it. Being okay with all of it. And saying what you are every time in the full length. I try and not just say like I'm Secwepemc and Nulth, like I'm Secwepemc Nulth, English, Irish, Scottish. It is a lot of stuff, but just paying homage to everything that I am, because I do have sisters and brothers on my father's side, and there has been times in the past where there is that sense of like, do you not like us? Do you hate us, or do you hate your nieces and nephews because of some, like just some on the political side of things?
Yeah.
I try not to get too political.
Yeah, same.
But it is, it's just I still want to stand up for, for my people on that side, for the land on that side. So just being okay with who you are. That's what I've come down to in life, is just being okay with who you are.
I think that's probably a lot of people's struggles, regardless of where you are in life, unsuccessful, successful, rich, poor. You're always going to be with yourself, and it goes back to kind of like, if you don't love yourself, then you can't accept love from others. So you got to find that place inside of you to be okay with where you are and what you're doing and where you can grow and, you know, where some of your struggles might be. And then coming back to families, you need family to kind of help you through those things as well. So it's good to have that big family, you know what I mean? Because you're not going to be able to get everything that you need in your life in terms of like emotional or social support just from one person. So like kind of the bigger the family you are and the closer you are, you know, you can go to your uncle for this, or you go to your cousin for this. Like my cousin just moved into my basement suite, and we grew up basically as brothers. We're 3 months apart. Our parents owned houses beside each other, so we grew up as neighbors. We used to beat the shit out of each other as little kids. That's what we did as young boys, right? But there's stuff that I'll say to him that I won't say to my own full blood sister, right? So just kind of having that network to be able to, when you're struggling or when you're succeeding, to be able to give that news or reach out for that helping hand up, right?
And I feel like sometimes, especially in today's generation with social media, it's so much harder to do that to a to a person, to tell them like, hey, I'm struggling, and accept that help back. So many times you'll just want to like shut it off and just like continue doing whatever you're doing in life. And even though maybe you'll think like, oh, like I kind of want to talk to this person about that. Or maybe you'll bring it up like slightly, but just change the subject right away because you don't want to like actually dive into that and get that emotional support and that healing, complete that healing cycle. You're so used to just like turning to something else.
Behind a screen.
Yeah, behind a screen or behind drugs or alcohol or behind whatever, right?
And when you see everyone online, people think that's their life all the time. Like, no, that is very curated. Those are very specific moments that they're showing you. They're not always on that Learjet, and chances are they probably actually just rented it and it never left the airport, right? So you see these perfect, idyllic lives and you compare it to your own. Your own life's always going to be shittier than that Instagram person who's got 1 million followers and every post is them. They're ripped and they're eating filet mignon and they're surrounded by, beautiful people and beautiful places. But maybe deep down inside, that's just the face they're putting on. And because of what they're going through in their fame, they're actually struggling too, right? But you don't see that struggling side.
No, most times, like 90% of the times, it's like that, right? It's even with like me as a person, everyone always comments that, oh, you're doing so good, and you hear that as a person who is growing and who is making changes in their life, you're gonna hear that, and it's awesome, it's good to hear. But sometimes, especially going back to like, if you're not accepting that help or you're not trying to reach out for that help, hearing that all the time can get tiring when you know that you're not doing great. You're doing better than you were when you were down in the dumps, but you're not doing great. You're still hurting on the inside and you're still not seeking out that help that you really need. You're just like grinding through because you lost on so much time or whatever you think in your mind. You're just like pushing and pushing and pushing. And sometimes that can like break you down so fast. So I think it's really important to just like, when you feel that you need to rest or anything like that, like take that time for yourself, but not too much.
It's not going to happen instantly. You're not going to heal all of your past struggles and trauma in one day, right? So maybe the first time you try and talk to someone, you bring it up, but then you change the subject. But then it's the next time, that maybe before you struggle and even bringing it up, but I've already brought it up once before. I can do it again. And maybe it takes you 3 or 4 times to be able to actually bring it up and then speak about it. And then there's that little bit of healing. And because of that and that little bit of growth you have, the next thing that you need to heal, it's easier to bring up. It's easier to talk about. Develop that trust and that relationship with that person, that safe space, right?
Yeah. There's always that feeling like everyone knows what they should do. They get that feeling. Yeah. And it's so hard to do that thing. Like I find it even with being like a good son. When you're a kid, you have those emotion feelings like, oh, I should go hug my mom. Or like, I should tell my dad I love, and you're like, love you, dad, love you, mom. And you just give him a big, and you're just so innocent and just beautiful and charismatic in a way. And then when you get older, like you have that feeling like, oh, I should go do this, or I should go do this. And it can be with anything, like when you're thinking you should go out, and then deep down you know you should stay in and get some stuff and go to bed early, and you know you should turn your phone off an hour before bed. When you start to feel tired, you're like, oh, I should go brush my teeth, but no, you watch another show and then you wake up tired. I think it's just important to like try and learn to listen to your gut, because your heart and your mind will be like battling all the time.
Oh, for sure. Doesn't take any discipline to eat a whole pint of ice cream. You know what I mean?
No.
It's super easy to do the things that aren't good for you.
Yeah.
The struggle comes from, it's not doing the things that aren't good for you. It's about actually starting and continuing on and building those. I need to go to bed by 9 p.m. every night. And then, like you said, super easy to watch, Stranger Things just came out, new season. Like, it's super easy to binge watch 4.5 hours of TV, and all of a sudden it's 2 a.m. and you're like, fuck. Right now you're down. You feel bad about yourself maybe the next day because you didn't get your routine.
Or days on end. Like,
the cycle just keeps going.
Yeah, especially with that staying up late. Like multiple days in a row. You could do, and everyone always says like, oh yeah, you can. When you're young, you just bounce back. But being in the music industry for a long time, like I started performing. I did my first onstage performance with. I'm also in a band with my mom and dad called the Melawmen Collective, and actually we have a new album out right now.
I listened to it.
Yeah, Fire in the Lake. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
It's good, man.
Yeah. So I started performing with them when I was like 12 years old.
Young, yeah.
And then by 14, I was coming to the festivals that they were coming to, and I was writing music to all their songs so I could be on most, if not like all of. By now, I'm on every single song, but at 14. Touring, going to these festivals, which they're festivals, right? And you're around all the other little festival kids, and it can always start off as innocent, but as something you have to be very wary of in many industries, like the bartending industry, or even the kitchen industry, the modeling industry, like the fashion industry, the music industry. A lot of these industries are very prevalent in celebration. I like to say that because we're not gonna, they like to celebrate.
Yeah.
And being young and around that, you're so like, oh, this is so awesome and this is great. But it's very easy to not take care of yourself and constantly be kind of doing things because of FOMO, like fear of missing out, that you'll never get that opportunity again. Or just like kind of pleasing other people, but pleasing like what you think you want to do, rather than thinking about like longevity, like, oh, I should go to bed. And more recently, I'm trying to think like this, like instead of staying after the show and talking to everyone and like partying until like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., go home, maybe do a little bit of like social media work, wake up early in the morning, write another song. Yeah. That's going to get you more noticed than staying out with a bunch of, partying people. And sure, they might remember you for the rest of their lives. Be like, oh, I hung out with homie one time. But how much damage rather than good is that going to do if people have a bunch of stories about you partying with them?
I would wonder as well, if you go home, you do your social media post, you throw some BTS up there, connect with your community that way. Next day, you're working on that song. Because you went home, you got the rest, you continue to work on your craft. And you're talking about if you had stayed, they're going to remember that moment for the rest of their lives. But maybe if you had stayed, you're not going to progress so far in your music. So what are they going to remember more? That time when you're still on the coming up and you partied with them? Or are they going to remember when you're in that show, when you're in a sold out arena and they're like, that was the best fucking show of my life? What's going to hit them more, right?
And just building that positive routine. That's what's so important. I'm still working on it today.
It's a lifelong journey.
It's a lifelong journey. So I'm super grateful to have the people around me that I have. I'm super grateful for my family. I'm super grateful for my community and for my friends, all the support they give me. But I have to start being a little more grateful to myself and my own body.
Yeah.
Even just like those weekends where it's your cousin's birthday or it's somebody, and like you spread yourself just a little bit too thin for one weekend, and that takes weeks to catch up on.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have weeks where you could have been doing stuff. So these are all like not me trying to like come at people out there.
Yeah.
All just me like about myself. I've had so many years go by.
Yeah.
Just like that. And I'm really grateful to be able to have survived those years off of what I created, which was very minimal compared to what I'm capable of. Super grateful to my mom for creating a whole musical empire that I can showcase my art at.
Your parents with being in music as well, and now it's what you're doing it's what you love to do, you're doing as a career. Like, they must have been such a huge influence on you growing up then to be able to have the talent that you have.
I like to say right from some of my earliest memories being my dad singing me to sleep on his guitar, you know, and then like hearing those songs for years and finally getting older being like, who played those songs, Dad? And he's like, oh, I wrote that. And I'm like, what? You wrote that? Like, that's beautiful. Like, go record that, dog. And my mom doing art workshops in communities and bringing such, like, not just we're going to go in and paint, like we're going to go into these communities where a lot of people don't want to learn about Indigenous history, and they're going to learn. Like, they're going to fucking learn this shit. And really focusing on the knowledge that's important. So much shout out to my mom. She's like such an intelligent woman.
You a mama's boy then?
Pardon?
Are you a mama's boy?
I'm a family boy, man. I'm a community boy. Like, I've went away from my community. And it's coming back that has made me the better person. But yeah, like the workshops, my mom used to go in and do these painting workshops, and she used to call me her mini facilitator. So one of the workshops that I recall, I was like 7 years old. It was actually held here in Kamloops at the art gallery, and they were working on like a huge collaborative canvas. And my dad came in because some of the kids would kind of not want to paint and be like walking around. My dad came in and he's using this old mixing board, like 12-track recorder. Like, you got to play the thing all the way through.
Yeah.
No fuck ups, or you got to restart. And he's making music in the bathroom. Like, just like
good acoustics in there.
Yeah, if the kids want to come in and check it out, or if somebody happens to come in that plays guitar or plays bass, they can add to it. They don't have to, but they can. It just gives that, like, all right, you're not interested in the painting, go over, make some music. And my mom brought in George Ignace, goes by Geo, aka The Voice. He's a rapper from Skeecheson First Nation.
Okay.
So she brings him in with his MacBook computer, and he's got GarageBand on there, and he can take. My dad can play a strum for 10 seconds, and he can take that and loop it and like drag it out. My dad's like, what? Just mind just blown. Like, he's like, oh my God. And this is like very bare minimal stuff, you know, to like do on the computer, but it was huge to my dad.
Well, that's like going from, you know, hieroglyphics and chipping things into stone, and all of a sudden like someone's like, oh, hey, we have a pen and a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is so crazy.
3D printer. Yeah. So he was just blown away. And then they started making music in the little bathroom. Like, they had like one of those little lavatory bathrooms, tiny little. My dad like set up his computer, or Geo set up his computer on the sink. My dad's sitting on the toilet playing his guitar, and they're making little tunes in the bathroom. And they made while they were doing that painting, they made a whole album with the kids. The kids would come in and contribute whatever they could, like a lot of lyrics. There was one that I remembered. He was a young Indigenous boy, and he did this piece called "Never Give Up," and it was like, never give up on sports, like on school, never give up on, pretty much just like don't give up on life. They created this album, really cool, and then in between, there would be sometimes where the kids wouldn't want to make music. They're all doing the stuff. So my dad and Geo would just kind of like go at it, make some cool shit. And then when they'd all go home, to Ashcroft, there's this, we have a very small house in Ashcroft, and then we have like probably half the size of the house, a little shack on the side, and it's called the Shack. Like, it's called the Shack. It's known all around as the Shack, and they would make music in the Shack. So my mom they'd all come back. My mom would listen to these tracks, and then she started adding. You know, she's a very talented vocalist, so she would start adding her stuff, and then my dad would write a part. He's a great singer as well, talented vocalist, and Gio is a very talented rhymesmith. Mm-hmm. So then he would add his rap parts, and all of a sudden you have this genre-bending, crazy, I don't know what people are hearing. They're like, "Whoa, is that rap? Oh wait, what? That kind of sounds folky. What is that kind of country? Oh, that's rock and roll. Oh, that's so melodic." Like, all these different influences from different people who had different influences into this one beautiful kind of spaghetti sauce.
Like a collage of everything.
A collage of everything.
Yeah.
So that was so important to me, to influence me as an artist, seeing an Indigenous rapper, a good Indigenous rapper, a really talented Indigenous rapper in front of me. Mm-hmm. You know, growing up as a kid, you kind of like, you see the people doing the things and you don't think because of who you are. Like, I didn't see any Native rappers, so I didn't know that Native people, Indigenous people could be rappers. I was just like, oh, I gotta be like, I always told my mom I wanted to be a famous artist. So I was like, Van Gogh was my inspiration. I loved Van Gogh.
Sick.
I loved Picasso. So I knew I wanted to be known for my art and like make money off of my art. And it's funny that because I said artist, I didn't say like painter.
Yeah.
So, and today I do make money off my art, and I like to share it with the world. That was mainly the thing, is sharing it. So yeah, my parents definitely huge inspiration. Gio, and then at 12 years old, they had written a song with one of the participants of the workshops, and he wrote a rap part, and they really liked doing the song, but he wasn't like, he couldn't come tour with us. It was just on one song, so we couldn't like bring him. And so they were like, why don't you learn? They were always kind of pushing me.
Yeah.
You know, always kind of like trying to get me to do stuff.
Just like your cousin.
Yeah. Always trying to get me to do stuff that they knew I could do, but they knew I needed a little a little push.
Especially at that age, right?
Yeah. So I learned his part. It was Colin John. He wrote a part on a song called "The Future," which is I wrote a new part to it now. It's on our new album. All of our old music is still on SoundCloud. So if anybody ever wants to reminisce to the days where we were just in the shack recording on GarageBand, making it all ourselves, you can go look at it on SoundCloud. But we have a new album, studio produced, beautiful. Yeah. So at 12 years old, I was at Lytton Riverfest, and I got to like take a break from skateboarding with all my friends and be like, guys, I'm gonna go on at 2 p.m. Come check it out. Little 12-year-old Kiva, go up, rap my little part, and go back to skateboarding with my friends, and everyone's like, yo, that's so sick. And I think the next year, or even that year, or the year after, I think it's the next year, we did another workshop at the art gallery in Kamloops. But this time it was a movable studio workshop. So the workshops slowly shifted from just art and passing on of like knowledge and the canvas to art and music. Now we were doing like just music, because we seen like, this is so cool. People get to take a CD home and listen, and it's them, or it's their kids, or it's their uncles, or it's their family. It was in collaboration with Beat Nation. We brought our RV and we parked it right outside the Kamloops Art Gallery. And for a whole week or 4 days, I think it was a week, we just had a sign outside, and anyone off the street was allowed to come in and collaborate on music, whether it was like ukulele, anything. If they knew how to play an instrument, they can add. If they wanted to sit and write a piece, we'd show them all the collaborations we were doing, and they could write to it. So my family was like, you guys, you should come. You have to do something, pretty much. So I sat there with Gio, and I wrote my piece, and he helped me kind of like figure it out. And I was like, no, like this is how, and he was like, no, it's not going to work if you do it like that. I was like, okay, I'll get it. And you can still listen to that somewhere. I think it's on SoundCloud. Little 12-year-old Kiva doing his first ever verse on Ghost. It's called Ghost. And that started it. That started it all. I would go and I'd do Colin's part on The Future, and I'd do Ghost. And then I wrote another part that worked with that. So then I was doing 4 songs out of the set list. And then all of a sudden, well, you might as well write to every song. So I wrote to every song, and I'm doing every song. And then I'm learning, I'm just learning stage presence, because I was just a little kid. Like, I would get up on stage, I'd look at the ground, I'd be like, rapping to the ground, rapping, not looking at anybody. I'd stand there with like my hands in my pockets. And one year, I think it was 2019, we did a Two Rivers Remix Festival in Cache Creek. So that's like pretty close to my hometown. Mm-hmm. And I remember on stage, it was like, from this moment on, it's 100 or nothing.
I love that.
It's like, I'm going to be out there, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to be interacting, and I'm going to be jumping up and down, or I'm not going to do this at all. And my mom got kind of mad at me for that show. I took it a little far. I was a little like, I'm the star. Not that I'm the star, but there's a lot to learn about stage presence.
A little bit of showboating.
A little bit of like, I'm yelling around a little bit too much. It's a full band. It's up to 8 pieces, 4 vocalists. That's 4, every song, that's 4 different people who have to be showcased separately. And like, you have to know when to like back off, kind of everyone back, and let that one person be showcased. Even though you're the young little rapper boy, you got to give everyone their space. So it's just a learning curve. And coming from such a roots background, like very humble beginnings, right? Like just all of us jamming in the shack to being on stage. We're all just learning how to do this. My dad, he's been in bands his whole life. So he's very veteran on stage, but we're all just learning how to like let each other have our own spaces. And
when did you start to find that you wanted to kind of go off on your own and take that solo route?
In high school, we had a guitar class, and I would play guitar in the guitar class. And there was, once you get to the end of the year, your final project, you had to like either learn a more difficult song than we were learning, or you could write your own song, and that could be your final project. So that was when I was like, oh, that's way easier. Like, I'm just going to use the chord. I didn't want to learn bar chords at the time. I didn't want to learn hard stuff, especially somebody else's hard stuff. I would rather just take the chords that I already knew, mix them around a little bit, and add new words, because words came really easy to me. Like, being a rapper, creative writing is like super, it just comes naturally to me. So I would take those, I wrote a song, and people liked it. People liked it a lot. And at the end of the year performance, I got like a lot of positive feedback from my friends. Obviously that gives you like, you're like, oh, thanks, man, But I always was like writing. My late cousin Lyle Morgan, he's passed away, but he was a really big influence for me as well. Another really talented Indigenous artist, very talented wordsmith. And it was actually him that we were sitting in the studio that I had created years and years later. And he was kind of asked me like, who'd you make your first song with? And I was like, I think it was like Geo, or like, must have been Melawmen. And then I was like, wait, it was you, bro. I was like, it was you. I was like, remember you freaking, you were she was babysitting me in the shack, and he was like, come on. And I was like, I want to write. I can't remember. He encouraged me, and that's so awesome to me. He was way older than me. I was like 11 years old, but he still included me in what he was doing. And he saw that I had interest in it, and he sat there and showed me how to do it and gave me the time of day to make a song with him. And it was like called Wrapping It Up. Like, wrapping it up tonight. Better be prepared for a fight. It was like just random little 11-year-old stuff. I wish I had that song today. But
got it here still though, right?
Yeah, somewhere. Deep down. I'd have to dig for that one.
Got the memory of what it feels like to have made that with him.
Just be a little kid, like, and have somebody actually give you that time. So it's really important to me that to not gatekeep any of our skills. If we have skills, like, we should pass them on and share them and show others.
Yeah, I love that with not wanting to gatekeep. So something that Adrian and I are exploring the idea of is speaking with some of the local high schools, because I know it's way different than when I was in high school, but there's videography classes, they have film classes, and there's coding and that sort of thing. We want to reach out to them and be like, hey, do any of your students want to come and see what it's like to film a podcast, to work on some editing, to work on some camera stuff, some audio stuff, and just kind of give them insight into what goes on kind of outside their classrooms from real world experience. So I love that you're saying you're not going to hold it back from anyone. Someone's going to show interest. You're going to help them out.
Yeah, that's what like just what you said. Like, it's not like how even for me, it's not like how it is now in high school. Like, I've been hired on with organizations where we go in and we do I also do the workshops now where we go in and we create a song and a music video. But I've been on with organizations where we go in and make a song and a music video, and the kids, a week before, they buy like the whole computer lab, like an MPC beat maker, and they buy like a microphone, and they buy FL Studio for the whole computer lab. And it's like, they have the option to just go and like work on music, like beats. I was like, dude, if I was like, what? If I was in high school and this, like,
that's a course you'd take for sure.
I would be like, yo, I would have made an album by the end of the year. But like, you never know. Would I really,
Might not have had the drive back then, but you were already exposed to that being at home though, right? So you had that kind of leg up.
I think it was just so cool because it took me so long to learn the proper way to do things. Not the proper way, but like, I wanted this crispness that you heard on like radio. And coming from like a very humble background, like, we just wanted to make our music.
Yeah.
We didn't, we weren't like sending it off for mixing and mastering. We were mixing and mastering, and my dad was himself on GarageBand, and like putting it out there for people to hear. And then if you liked us, you come see us perform and be like, wow, this is amazing. But just having that option in high school to learn that much about it and have those tools right in front of you, like, it took me so long to realize that like you need a condenser microphone if you want quality recordings, right? I was like trying to do it off a USB mic, being like, why does it sound like shit? A lot of our albums that we recorded were recorded right off of the Apple computer microphone, like the built-in microphone on the laptop, and like whole albums off of that. Like, the guitars played into the computer. There's spit all over the screen from the rappers just rapping into the computer. But that's what we had, and that's what we made do with, and we made some of our like amazing. Still to this day, you can hear it, and it's nostalgic to listen to, and that's where it all started. So, I think coming from that, it's just important to not get too caught up with like the fanciness of what you have. Because I still struggle today. Like, I had an Aston Origin microphone. I recorded my first album on that, bunch of demos and stuff. And then I moved up to the Shure SM7B, and I used it like once, and I was like, no, I need something better. And then now I just bought the Neumann TLM 103. So I just kept like upgrading microphones before really like learning how to use the program properly. And it's all about just like, you don't need the most expensive gear. Like, what do they say? Like, it's not the player, it's not the guitar, it's the player of the guitar, like something.
Oh, like it's not the dog in the fight, it's the fight in the dog, that sort of thing.
Kind of like that. Yeah, like, you don't need the top. You can make do with like, whether it's like a $5,000 Fender guitar or a $500 guitar. If you don't know how to play an A chord, it's gonna sound like shit either way. Well,
there was bands 50 years ago who you throw their one of their songs on the radio, like a Queen or the Beatles or any of those, and the stuff that they were using to record, the best stuff that was around back then, you couldn't even find stuff that shitty anymore. Like, the mic on your iPhone is going to be better than anything they had back then. Mm-hmm. The headphones that you buy for $80 are better than the cans that they were wearing to hear their voices, right? So you can make music, you can be artistic and creative without having to have a $10,000, $20,000 setup, right?
Like 100%. I've heard stuff from people that like literally just use like, what is it, BandLab on their phones.
Yeah.
And they have no mic. They just have like their headphone mic, and they're like doing all their mixing and stuff on their phones. And it sounds better than stuff that I have like spent time and money into my interface and my microphone. And I got these monitors. Like, I invested a lot into my studio before I knew how to work my studio.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to like figure out what you want to do and learn how to do it well before you start like investing in all these. It's also good though, you know.
Kind of future proofing yourself.
I think I think both ways can be helpful, because now like with the work that I do, I go around and I travel and do these healing through hip hop. I call it healing through hip hop workshops. Nice. And we go in and we do a canvas like my mom would do, and then I make a song like my dad would do. But then I also bring in a videographer, and then we make a music video at the end of it, which just brings, when the kids see that, they're like, oh, yeah, like that's dope.
What you should probably do is max out everything you can on that until you kind of move up. So like us here in the studio, we could spend $100,000 easy. Mm-hmm. Is it going to make the podcast that much better? Probably not. Like our two guest and host cam, we would love to have better lenses on there. Mm-hmm. But is that really? It's going to be like such a minuscule amount to spend $4,000 on two more lenses. Mm-hmm. Like, instead, I should invest that sort of money into myself, reading, listening to other people's podcasts, editing the podcast, rewatching what I did well, what I could have done better, and learning from that. Like, that's where the time and investment should go, opposed to like, oh, we'll just buy another piece of equipment. We're going to be better. All we need is just, if I had better this, it would have been better. It's like, would it really have been that much better? Maybe a tiny bit.
That's the thing too. Like I'll make, just making like my music. I have more drifted towards working with people who really know what they're doing because of the quality that I want from myself. I did my album, right? I did the whole thing, did it by myself, just to kind of like, from my influence, my mentor, I guess I could say mentor, Gio, he's the kind of guy, he's like, just do it. Like, fuck what anybody else thinks. You don't need it. Just to show them that you can. Yeah, just do it.
Live for yourself. Not their opinions.
And you don't need all this fancy shit. Just do it. Yeah. So I did that, and then kept buying more expensive stuff, and then not really investing in myself at all, and realizing like, oh, I can't just not make music for 4 years. And then buy all this fancy equipment and then go back to it and think it's going to be that much better because I have this fancy. And like you said, like, it's such a minuscule amount that people, like, you might notice and other podcasters or videographers might notice. Yeah. But the average eye isn't going to notice. The average ear, whether you have, unless it's like a crazy difference microphone, people can make a $500 microphone sound like a $20,000 microphone. If they know, if they have the knowledge, Well,
I mean, how many artists have been discovered on SoundCloud, and their talent is there, their lyrics are there, but it sounds like it was recorded in a fucking trash can, right? Mm-hmm. Just because it sounds like shit doesn't mean it is shit. Like, someone heard that, like, this person's got talent, and they put that same song then through the equipment and stuff, and then you're like, okay, this is a banger, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I know we were chatting a little bit before we came on, but you were living in Vancouver for a bit there. I think you had some struggles.
Oh, yeah. Vancouver, the city that chews you up and spits you out. And I've heard that from so many people, and I heard that from my dad before I left. It was a very weird time in life. Starting out like as a young man, a young Indigenous man, like prone to alcoholism, like prone to just a lot of kind of like mental health issues with generational trauma, intergenerational trauma backgrounds, kind of just like easily at high risk for slipping into a bad scenario. So being in the music industry, going around all these places, when you're an artist, everyone's going to want to party with the artists, you know? Everybody after, and there's always going to be somebody. There's always going to be another party. There's always going to be somebody who wants to party with you after your show. That's where it like comes into just like going home, going to bed.
Yeah. The opportunity's always there.
Yeah, the opportunity's always there. Recognize that. Be all right with not taking it. I had just come off of a tour with Two Rivers, moved down to Vancouver with all these huge plans. Plans to, you know, do my album, plans to network a whole bunch with the community down there, start doing my healing through hip hop workshops. I wanted to launch the Sacred brand with Dario. And also I had a couple other, I wanted to like invest in a food truck with me and my other cousin, and then the last one was like start a feeding program, like to feed the houseless, and just feed the people who needed food. Did none of it. Absolutely none of it. It's so easy to get distracted, especially when you move from such a small, tight-knit community where you're around people who are doing the same things as you too. Like I was either with my family, or I was on the road with my family because we're doing Two Rivers. I would also work for Two Rivers, doing like workshops, I used to be on their like sound crew. So I would we'd set up the whole festival. I'd perform twice, sometimes do some of the emceeing, run around, make sure everything's all right. And then we'd take it all down and then move to the next town, set it all up again. Coming from that, where it's like just all community, then moving 4 hours away, I still had family there, but my priorities were not at all where they should have been. I struggled with alcohol from the time I was kind of introduced to it, I think. I always...
How young were you then? When you were first introduced?
I think when I first like drank, I think I was pretty young, you know, like 13, maybe even 12.
Yeah.
Coming from a small town, you know, I think it's kind of common.
Oh, for sure it is.
Right?
Yeah. I grew up in a small town.
Yeah.
Everyone did it.
Yeah, everyone does it. And like, especially that generation. I don't know about this generation too much, a little bit. Maybe I think we were talking earlier, like they've kind of moved. It's not as cool to be a drunk idiot anymore, which I'm so thankful for.
It's cool to be sober.
It's cool to be sober, which is it feels cool to be. It feels amazing to be sober, and you get shit done. So stay on that sober trail. I was really young, and I remember drinking with my friends. We had all kind of like saved up a little stash, and that feeling. I don't know what the appeal to it really was. I remember feeling like I couldn't control my body, and I couldn't control my speech, and I think I just like this. It was just a difference. I was always I think I grew up with a very addictive personality, and it's really. I'm not too sure about like how that is now with today's generation. I think they're just addicted to like a lot of social media. I think the addictions are different. Yep. You know, so I was told that, like a lot of people told me like we think you know, your family, or not my family, but like in my genetics, I am prone to addiction. So I should have kind of like taken that. You're a kid though, you know, you're not really thinking about that stuff. And then through the years, just like skateboarding too. I was a skateboarder. So a skateboarder, I like to rap, and those kind of two. There's
a lot of alcohol in those worlds.
A lot of alcohol in those worlds. People like to party, and it's not talked about how it can ruin your opportunities in those worlds. Mm-hmm. Like if you just want to do it for fun and you just want to have fun, sure. But if you want to like go somewhere with it, you should really like not be drinking at your shows or not be getting like hammered, because you never know who's watching you, right? Like you never know the eyes that are on you.
Especially now with everyone having a cell phone, everything's recorded.
Yeah, yeah. At 15 years old, I overdosed on promethazine codeine. It was an accidental overdose. I was at a party. There was a cup. It got drank in, and
That's like lean, right?
yeah, lean. And that's a big thing in like all like, like it's a very dangerous genre, rap, you know? So much influence on so much negativity.
It's glamorized.
It's glamorized.
What is it? Was that Purple Drank? Is that
Purple
yeah,
Drank,
in the raps,
or lean, scissor or whatever. So glamorized, drug use, violence, and now it's like literal murder music, like talking about just like killing the ops, right? So many people who listen to it have no relatability to what is going on in the song, but it's a feeling. It's a feeling you get when you play that song. It's like, like, and I can totally understand why people listen to it. I was listening to it a lot of like, I feel like dark energy kind of comes from it, and like you want to be destructive. You want to go and like, you want to go do these things that you're hearing these rappers talk about, even though you have no relatability to what's going on. So yeah, I was 15, and I came out of that, and my whole family was around me in the hospital here in Kamloops, and I had like tubes down my lungs. A machine was breathing for me.
Quite serious then.
Yeah, when it happened, like I was outside and they had to call the ambulance. I was convulsing, and they had to take me away to the hospital in Ashcroft. And my parents were sitting in the waiting room, and they had to call my parents in because they were understaffed. And they were like, if you want your son to survive, you have to come help. And while they were trying to put the ventilator in my lungs, I started puking, and my lungs filled up with puke. So I was drowning in my own vomit, and they had to like vacuum the puke out of my lungs. Finally got me while my parents are like hold this, take this, take this. And then finally run me over to Kamloops. I still wasn't breathing on my own, so they had to put me into a drug-induced coma, fill me up with like morphine and all this other stuff. And I think I was in there for like 10, 12, like almost a full day or something. I can't remember. But when I came out of that, like, yeah, just seeing my whole family around me, it was very like, wow, like what the fuck? But you don't know, right? It was literally just like the moment that cup, it was just black, and then I'm up. And it did obviously, yeah, for sure scared me, because I was like, that's how fast it happens. And it's just black. And you could just be black forever and you'll never know, like. So I was super scary. And then I really kind of should have taken that as like
the wake-up call?
A wake-up call, but I was so young. And
you're invincible when you're young.
Yeah,
right?
you're invincible.
It's never going to happen to me.
No. And, I struggled. I really struggled with alcohol my whole adolescence, and I didn't see it as a problem. And everyone around me did.
It's one of those things where you're so close to it, and you don't have, everything's, in hindsight, everything's 2020, but if you had been able to like zoom out and look at it from like the macro instead of the micro, you'd be like, holy fuck, Kiva, like pull your head out of your ass, like figure this shit out, right?
Real. And I see videos of myself from those days, and I'm like, I don't even know who that is, man. Like, and it makes me sad, but like also happy that I've made the changes that I've been making. So yeah, I continued down that road. And it kind of all came down to like, I didn't want to hurt my family was the main one. I didn't want to hurt myself anymore. My health got really, really kind of like scarcely there. I was like, I'm 25. Like, I shouldn't be, like, it's getting to the point where I really don't care about myself anymore. And I don't care about my future, and I don't care. And I looked at it and I was like, that's saying that I don't care about the next generation, because people look up to me, no matter if I want them to or not, because of the platform that I have, and as an Indigenous artist and as an Indigenous youth, like a workshop facilitator, and just a person who's like not put on a pedestal, but like on stage, and people see you and people like what you do, and no matter what, they're gonna kind of follow what you do. I seen like, you know, like family members kind of that were younger than me, kind of going down like a similar road, and me being like, wow, I've glamorized this just like the rappers have, and I've made it like, oh, Kiva's like wild, Kiva fucking has a great time, like Kiva, and I didn't want, the main thing was, it was, of course it's fun, you know, of course it's all fun until it's really, really not. And you get to, once you stop, you have to like deal with all that stuff that you did, and all that that hurt that you were masking that whole time.
And it goes from being fun to not fun super quick, and you're so into it that you don't realize that you're not having fun anymore.
You're really not, and that maybe you weren't for a long time. You know, so yeah, Vancouver did get some stuff done. Spending so much money.
Expensive city.
Spending so much money, like just an absurd amount, especially being like coming off of good work, coming off of doing like a decent amount of shows, and like having savings and everything. Not really like living in your community, paying minimal to stay there, like also like being able to live off the land, not driving all around all the time, and like not having a lot of bills to pay, to paying an absurd amount for a tiny space.
One of the most expensive cities in the world, right?
Yeah, and just like everything else is expensive too. Like you go, there's like $8 coffees, and like anytime you go, and I was just being an idiot with how I was spending my money. I had a lot of money saved up that I could have really invested into myself, and I wasn't doing any reinvestment into myself, which is so important now. Like I realize you really have to like invest in your dream and invest into yourself, and I wasn't doing any of that. I was like, I had lived off of that album that I did, my first album on GarageBand, for like 4 years, and I was just like, oh man, how come like I'm not getting as many shows? Like what the fuck's going on? And it's like I haven't dropped in 4 years. I haven't dropped a single thing, you know? Like,
did you do any writing during that time, or you're just sort of coasting?
Well, when I lost my cousin Lyle, yeah, like a few years ago now. He was we gotta rewind a little bit here actually.
Yeah.
From before Vancouver, after I graduated high school, I moved to Kamloops. I moved here, and I started going to TRU, and same kind of thing, you know. Like I was always kind of like one foot in the door, never like fully committed to one thing. Like I was doing my university, doing my Bachelor of Arts degree, majoring in philosophy. And but I was still like going home for the summers and working those jobs, and then every time I'm at school, I'm like writing raps, not really paying attention. Like, oh, I should be doing this. I should be doing this. And my grandfather, very spiritual man, very like respected man. His name was Terry Morgan. He was going through health struggles at the time. And I'd spent a lot of time with my grandfather in the past 2 years before his passing. And he was at the hospital here in Kamloops, actually. A lot of stuff always comes back to Kamloops. And I went there, and I was still struggling with alcohol a lot. So I was drinking a lot, staying up really late, coming to see him kind of out of it. And he could always tell, you know. So that kind of hurt me. I didn't get to spend... The last time I seen my grandfather, I wasn't in good, you know, in the right spirits. And he passed away. He passed away. So I moved up. I actually had a meeting with a counselor in TRU, because I was like, you know what? Sure, we get I think we get free counseling as an Indigenous student. So I was like, I'm going to utilize this. I'm going to try and take that first step into helping myself. And I talked to this counselor, and I tell him like how I do music with my family. and how we tour around all the time, and like how I do my own solo shows, and I just did a show in Kamloops and it went really well, and like I do all this stuff. And he was like, you make money from this? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and I was like, I'm having trouble being here. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't find it's in my benefit. And he was like, I'm not supposed to say this. I'm supposed to be the person who keeps you here, but why the fuck are you here? He literally told me, he's like, why are you here? You should be doing this thing. There's people that work so hard and don't get shows or don't get to make money off of their music. Like, you have that upper step. Like, go pursue that. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm going to take a break from school. And I moved up to my grandfather's house. And that was really difficult because I was really close with my grandfather. And being a 19-year-old young man struggling with alcohol, moving up to the boonies in Hat Creek, Upper Hat Creek. It's like about halfway in between Cache Creek and Lillooet. Mm-hmm. So it's up there. It's off the highway and into a 5-bedroom house that like everything is exactly the same how it was when your grandfather was there. And nothing's going to change. And you just kind of got to like, and I lived there for about like 2 years. And I went there in a hurt place and maintained that hurt for a long time, kind of just masked it with alcohol. Yeah, so that was a big part. I kind of forgot where we were.
We were chatting about when you were coasting off for 4 years with your album, and I'd asked if you wrote it all during that time, and then you brought up the passing of your cousin Lyle.
Oh, yeah. So Lyle, oh my God, Lyle is my grandfather's brother's son. So he lived the house next door to me, and he loved my grandpa. We were always really close. He's like 10, 15 years older than me, but always really close. Wrote my first song with Lyle, as I said. So I built a little studio in one of the rooms downstairs. That's when I I was part of this program. They actually paid for some of the equipment for me to get and move it into the studio. So I got to build like this actual monitors, interface, condenser microphone. I had no excuses. I had a MacBook. I had no excuses. And we would kind of just like sit in that studio, and I would write. And I made my whole first album with Lyle. Like, kind of, I'd show him my music, and he'd hype me up. He'd be the best hype man ever. He'd be like, "Yo, cuz, fuck, cuz, that shit's so fucking good. Come on, cuz, play that one track again, cuz." And I'd be like, "Oh, you really want to hear it again?" Like, okay. And he was my biggest hype man. And when he passed away, I couldn't step into that room. Like, I couldn't go into that room. I couldn't sit down in that room. I just remember every time, like, he'd be right there.
Yeah.
Or, like, sitting on the couch, you'd see him, like, I hear the dog bark or something, and you'd see him walking down, open the window, "What the fuck going on, cuz?" Or, like, waking up in the middle of the night because he's playing music off of his phone on the couch, and I'm like, "Go to fucking bed, cuz." Or waking up because it's way too hot because he's just stoking the fire, like, 24/7. I'm like, "Fuck, cuz." I had that really big hurt in my heart from losing such a close family member and somebody that was super supportive in my music. I didn't write from the time he passed away to like after I moved. When I started doing the album in Vancouver, like, I had to write because there was like, this was paid for time. There's enough excuses. I had to sit down. I knew I could do it all the time, but I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't writing. And if I was, it was, it wasn't about the right stuff. So yeah, I didn't write for like 3, not like fully didn't write, but I didn't productively sit down and write songs for like a few years. Yeah.
Do you ever hear him kind of in the back of your head when you finally sat down and started writing again? Like, cuz, like.
Oh, dude, it was, yes, I do, man. It was so crazy. The other week or the other month, like last month, I think it was, we turned our carport, we framed it in, and we took all the stuff from the shack because my parents are going through, like, they're thinking of selling the house in Ashcroft. So we moved all the stuff from the iconic shack. They used to have what they called shack attacks.
Yeah.
Because there used to be an opera house in Ashcroft. So all the musicians after the opera house had their shows would all come to the Shack Attack, and they'd have this crazy all night long jams. But they moved all the thing, and now they call it the port instead of the shack, because like the carport.
Yeah.
So I was sitting down, and I set up a little studio area there with just like one of those foldable tables, and I put my monitors there, and I put my stuff down, and I was like, I don't know why, but I feel like making music right now. And I bought a brand new top of the line MacBook Pro like last year, like brand new, bought Logic, had a freaking Shure SM7B, nice monitors, and I hadn't used them since I bought them. I bought all this stuff, was making all the, oh, dude, if I had a computer right now, I'd make a whole album in like a month.
Yeah.
Like if I had a microphone, I'd be going off. Like you don't even know. And then I got all this stuff, and I
Didn't do it.
didn't want to. So I sat down, and I seen in the corner of my eye, under a chair, it was my cousin's like memorial little card, those little memorial cards that you get. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? That shouldn't be down there. So I like picked it up, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'll put it right in front of me. And I pinned it, and I started making this beat, and I was like, fuck, this is a dope beat. And I was like, okay, I'm going to write to it. And I was trying to write, and I was like, started trying to write some like gangsta stuff, not gangsta, but like, you know, some like hard rap stuff. And I was like, didn't feel right at all to me. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. And I was like, fuck, what should I write about? And I looked at the memorial thing, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'll write about Lyle. Like, fuck, I want to write about Lyle. So I wrote this whole verse about Lyle, about my cousin. And super sad, emotional. But I recorded the verse, and then I recorded the kind of a hook idea. And I started writing more. And I was like, why is everything gravitating towards Lyle? And I was like, fuck, I wonder, like, when did he pass away? And I was like, it must have been kind of close. I feel like it was really close to this time. I was like, I'm pretty sure it was this month, actually. And then I look at the memorial card, and I look at the time, and it's literally about to turn 12 the day he died, the night, like, so the day he was found in the morning. And, like, so it would have been probably almost exactly when he passed away. And I was like, holy fuck. Like, he's here. He's giving me that huge push of, like, get fucking back in there. But write a song about me, cuz.
Did you feel in that moment you kind of had a leap forward in your healing from that event then?
Definitely, yeah. Like, definitely right after he passed away, I just drank away my emotions. Which was, it was tough because like alcohol had a lot to do with why I've lost a lot of people who are close to me. A lot of drugs and alcohol has as a young person in this generation, with like just all the ongoing issues in communities, alcohol has been the most relevance to death with me. So it was kind of ironic that alcohol was what I turned to. But I think, yeah, when that moment happened, I kind of had a little bit of healing of like, you know what, this is how it's going to be now. I'm not going to ever get to see you again, but I'm going to feel you every day. And I know that you're with me. Like I just went and walked to his grave yesterday. I just had like the same kind of thing. I walked to the grave. I was like, you want to go for a walk? And I started walking, and then I took a left, and I was like, oh, you know, the graveyard, let's just walk over there. And I walked over there, and as I'm leaving, like I look up and I see this like big bald eagle just from the distance come over and like fly right over me. And I was like, whoa, what's up, cuz? You know, just things like that. Like I'm gonna get those moments as long as I keep doing good. And I feel, in my beliefs, I feel like the ones who are gone, like help me out so much. You know, when I got sober, through my endeavors in alcohol, I lost like my whole studio equipment, just misplacing it, and kind of like I lost both my microphones, my interface, one of my monitors, a pair of like really nice like pretty much my whole setup, and I didn't know where it was. And they slowly started to come back to me when I got sober, and I slowly started getting more opportunities. And then I slowly, like, I get nominated for like artistry gift, like Amazon, like a $500 Amazon card or something, like little rewards to help me rebuild myself. And like my family would want to put more into me too. They'd be like, we see you're doing good. Thank you. Like, how can we help you out? Instead of like me just being so destructive for so long, that you're scared to help people when they're destructive, you know? 'Cause you don't like, when you're in addiction or alcoholism, you're not always the most honest person, right? So, you know, people are scared to give you certain kinds of help. They don't know if it's going to go to the right things, right?
Kind of sounds like you've kind of gone full circle from when you were younger and you were getting into music and you were loving it and sense of community and family, and then you went to your darker times, and now you're back to kind of being that person that you knew was always deep down there, but you just couldn't find them.
It's so crazy, man, because like after I got sober, so many of my friends are like, they'll see me and they'll be like, man, it's like old Kiva's back. Like it makes me like it makes me want to cry, bro. Like it's so fucking weird. Like I'm just like not an asshole anymore. It's crazy when you stop drinking, you're just not a piece of shit. Yeah.
What was the moment when you were, I don't, were you still in Vancouver when you started to get sober, or were you back here?
I just started. So, turning like, I was at the point where I didn't want to hurt my family anymore. I didn't want to like worry them, scare them. I didn't want to hurt myself anymore. And I owed it to my community to share the gifts that I was given, right? Like so many community members look up to me, but also like I have all this stuff inside that I got to let out that the world wants to hear. People like my music and that means something. I can't be fucking around like wasting all my time. Like I got to get to work and share this with them. So I came to a point where I was like, you know what? My family had talked to me and was like really concerned about me. And my friends had already like expressed concern. And it was like the thought process in my head was like either go deal with your problems and like get sober, or like if you're gonna like, the little devil in my brain was like, if you're gonna keep drinking, how would you do it? And it was like, you'll end up on the street. Nobody wants to deal with your alcoholism anymore. Nobody wants to deal with like what comes with it. So if you're gonna do it, you're gonna have to do it away from everyone you love.
Hide it
And like be literally like be on the street, like one of those, you know, those lost people that are still out there. And I was like, boom, whoa, that was kind of like a what the fuck? You just thought about that? You actually considered that as an option? And I was like, okay, yo, it's time to deal with stuff right now. So
what was the first step then?
I went to a detox actually. Yeah, you know, like I knew I could get sober on my own. I actually completed like the actual detox of alcohol. Cause I was drinking every day for quite a while. And, it started to just, I noticed like I wasn't getting as much shows. I didn't feel good about myself at all. I knew that I was hurting my body, and I knew that I was masking my emotions. I knew that I was trying, I was drinking not to celebrate. Literally just to like suppress everything. So I did get sober on my own with the help of my family, but then to go to the detox was kind of like, my family was really pushing it. They're like, you should go, like you gotta go, like you should go to the detox. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, yeah. I was like, I don't have to, I don't gotta do, no, I don't need this, blah, blah, blah. But I went, and I'm so glad that I did, because it really changed my perspective. I don't know if I would have stayed sober if I didn't go. I seen these young kids, because I was still under 25 at the time. So I got to go into the youth, they have like the youth and the adults separated. So I got to go on the youth side, and I seen 2 or 3 kids come in that were like 14, like young, and like had overdosed multiple times within the year. And we're just trying to talk about like, yo, like, come on, we could get out together type stuff. And like, and I was like, nah, man, like I'm committed to like, and the first time I said it, I wasn't sure if I was even, I just said it for them, so they wouldn't, like, so hopefully they'd see like, oh, you want, maybe I should too. And I really like formed a connection with one of the kids in there, and he was a young boy, and like I was like, man, like you're a good kid, I can tell from talking to you. You're a good kid. Like, what do you want to do in life? He's like, I want to be a fighter. And I was like, and he was showing me his moves and stuff. And he had been working with somebody. And I was like, you're actually, I used to take karate. So I was like, I'd fight in tournaments and stuff. And so I knew like a little bit. I was like, you are definitely like talented. Like, you could go do this. Like, fight for what you want to do, man. And like, keep doing it. And it was so sad to hear his story and like how he said something to me that will always stick with me. He was like, you're such a good person. I've never met somebody good like you. And I was like, damn, like
That hits.
I'm like, I'm not even that good. You know, like, it was like, damn, like there's people out there that don't get the love that I had my whole life. They don't get the family that I had my whole life. Like, I got to take this, I got to stop taking this for granted and go back and give that love back to my family. You know, for a long time, when you're in alcoholism, especially, you know, you're constantly blaming. It's never your fault.
Yeah, you're always the victim.
You're always the victim. And I definitely was like that. You know, I was always blaming. And it's not like the stuff that I would talk about wasn't true, but when you're sober, you realize that it's stuff that you got to deal with, and you got to start your healing journey. And like, if you can't, like we were talking about talking to people, there's certain people that you can talk to. If you can't do that, sometimes you just can't do that. Like, my last step on healing will be like fully getting back into my ceremony. So like doing sweat lodge, skelia ceremonies, and mostly sweat lodge. And first doing them like alone a little bit so I can heal myself before you bring other people in. You don't want to be giving them like your dark energy from your healing. So just like creating a relationship with whoever it is or whatever it is that's in your life. If you want to pray to a higher power, or just talking to even if it's just talking to yourself and healing with yourself. Like you said, like, you have to learn to love yourself before you can love anybody. You have to learn to like heal yourself and talk to yourself, be okay with yourself. If you can't, go reach out. Some people need to like reach out to other people and heal that way. But some people really need to just first get a grip on themselves and figure out who that person inside your head is, and realize that you can talk back to that person too.
You said the last step will be getting back to, going to the sweat lodge. What's holding you back right now from getting to that?
Nothing. I just have to do it. It's one of those, when I first got sober, I think I got this like burst of energy from not being like tired and exhausted and hungover every day.
Yeah, you're sleeping, you're eating properly, you're being productive.
So I was just doing and then I started all these big projects, like new album number 2, starting like, oh, I really want to get back into youth work. I'm gonna do it full-fledged and try and book all these workshops. I wanna also like start this brand with my cousin Dario. Oh, also I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do, and then and I quickly got burnt out. And I think taking time for yourself. So me and my cousin Dario, and we're also gonna my little I like to call him my little brother, because I grew up with his name's Isaac, and he's my little cousin, but he's my little brother. I don't even like calling him my cousin. And he's #1 supporter. There was Lyle, like older cuz, and then there's Lil Cuz, who's my little brother, and he's #1 supporter. Knows all the words to my freaking lyrics, word for word. The songs that haven't even been released yet, makes me send him them, and I'm like, I'm missing out on streams, bro. He's like, no, come on, man. He's like that little brother that's like, come on, man, come on. So involving him, I think it's like a lot of the times too, I'd always want to do something with somebody. And to learn to be an independent, like, I know the term independent woman, but just an independent person, like independent man. Because I think some of us have to relearn how to do that, and like realize that I don't need anybody to be there with me to go build a sweat lodge.
Yeah.
I can just go, all I need is a shovel, some willows, and I can go out and build that and remember the teachings that my grandfather taught me and do that with good spirits. And I don't have to actually answer to anybody else or worry about how they would do it. I can actually just do it myself. So the only thing that's holding me back from doing it is me, really. And I'm trying to spread myself like everywhere. It's that, like we talked about earlier, when you have a feeling like, oh, I should go out, but you know you shouldn't, and do the thing, like the productive thing. It's just like, it's a discipline thing.
The hardest thing is starting it, right? It's once you start it, you get out there with the shovel, you start digging, you're going to keep going, but it's okay, I'm going to set this side of time. I'm going to head out there and I'm going to do the fucking thing that I know I need to do. But you got to start. That's
You
just
just gotta
You just
start,
got to
yeah,
get out
yeah.
there.
And when I first got sober, that was that switch kind of clicked in my brain. Like, as soon as I think of something, instead of thinking of 50 reasons why that's going to be hard or maybe I should do it this way, I just did it. And I'm kind of getting like, from just being a little bit tired and like spreading myself way, like trying to do too many things, I'm starting to get a little bit lazy again now. And I realized that. So I think it comes with winter too.
Yeah, it slows down a little bit.
But
Less daylight.
But I'm really working on getting back into, like, when you think of it, just do it.
I mean, I couldn't think of probably a better time to be in a sweat lodge than when it's 15
Yeah.
below.
Yeah. Well, it's a little, see, I could do the thing where I could be like, oh, it's a little harder to dig the holes and, like, it's frozen ground. But yeah, you could, bottom line is you can do it.
Pickaxe, you get through the top layer, the frost, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to, next time we chat, I'd love to hear that you went out there and did that, because you said you learned that from your grandfather, and you felt pretty, kind of shitty about the last couple of times you saw him. You weren't, being true to yourself. Maybe that's part of your healing journey with that as well.
I think 100%. Like, so there's so much that happened, just with like me taking over the house, and how I was living in that house was not how my grandfather liked to live. And there's like a giant picture of him on the wall, right? Like, just looking right at me.
Yeah, he's watching you
the whole goddamn fucking time. And I was like, damn, like this, it didn't feel right. So there's a lot of making up, I think, like spiritually. I gotta make up with those, with my pop, with the homies, with the homies up there. Cause I think so much in my beliefs, like in my feelings, like so much has to do with, like the spirits. I think they really are like my angels, like they help out, they can give and they can take away too as well. So like, I got to make amends with some of them that I might've like disrespected at some point.
Yeah. I think maybe when you come back from going overseas there, you'll have that kind of hard reset. Like you're not going to be, when you're away, you're not going to be doing any of your workshops. Maybe you do write some music or something, but you're actually going to have some time for yourself. You're going to have time for family that are there. You're going to make some new lifelong relationships, and you come back, and I bet you come back pretty refreshed, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. Because I've been kind of nervous. I don't like flying. I'm like, oh man, I'd like to just like stay back and just like chill, right? But it's like, nah, I'm gonna go do this. And like you said, like I'll get to actually have a reset. So I'm gonna try and just like think of it like that. Like, got a hotel room, food's paid for and everything too, right? Like, just go enjoy it and then go to bed and like just chill out, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you can get on stage in front of, hundreds of people and throw your craft out there, getting on an airplane, you're used to being in front of people, you can go and compete, you can give your best self, and you can come back and you're like, okay, I'm ready to go, man. My cup is full. I can put myself forward for my music. I can do the sweat lodge. You're a very inspirational young man. You've been through a lot of shit, and you've done a lot of good stuff as well. And you're going to come back and you're going to hit the ground running, man. Yeah.
I'm really excited for this like next chapter. It really feels like surreal, like dreamy walking around sometimes, just like, cause I know that it's a chapter in my life that has completely ended and like a new one is starting. Like, I can feel that everywhere I walk, and like just looking around, like I'll look at lights and stuff and be like, this feels weird, man. Like, but I'm like, oh, it's like, I'm not a kid anymore, especially with like they say like your prefrontal cortex connects at 25. So I'm 25 now. I can feel the maturity. Like, it's definitely, I'm seeing the world through a different pair of glasses now. Yeah. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, okay. I see what everyone was saying now. They were right. I was wrong.
Now that you're sober, do you hear the music differently now?
Yeah, so much. Like, certain type of music has certain type of energy. Some people are very good at like still listening to that kind of music because that's just the genre that they love. But I find myself changing genres with my mood. If I'm in a different mood, like I don't want to listen. If I'm in like a positive, like on the way to the podcast here, I didn't want to listen to that like that trendy trap music.
Yeah.
I wanted to listen to some like uplifting good stuff because I was like, I'm going to do a good thing. When I'm sober, like I don't want to listen to if they're just talking about like drugs, money, crime, violence. That's not the life that I'm trying to live. I'm trying to live like a positive. I also don't want to listen to like, oh, rainbows in the goddamn fucking sky, like too cheesy. But I'm also trying like, I think it's kind of a tricky subject too because like it's about what sells too, right? Like in my music that I write now, I do think about like what's not like a sellout type of way, but what's gonna sound dope.
Yeah.
You can only make positive music sound so dope. You have to add a bit of an edge to it, I find anyways, in order to get the listener's attention, in order to make them feel, ooh, that's kind of like, whoa, I like that. So it's definitely finding how I'm gonna go about writing my music is definitely gonna be different now.
I think with that though too, have you ever seen the documentary on Avicii? Tim Berg?
Yeah. I just watched that actually.
Yeah, so one of my favorite artists, and he's coming up and he's putting out all these bangers and it's all, beep, beep, boop, boop. And then he said, no, I want to do something different. I want to bring in live vocalists. I want to mix folk with EDM and do this. And everyone's like, this is going to suck. And then he does his first show with it and he puts it out and everyone hates it. But then it's a week later and every one of his songs is in the top 10 from that album, right? But he stayed true to himself, right? He was living for himself, not their opinions. And from him going out, he made a new genre, right? And now when you hear a lot of the EDM stuff, there's always vocalists on there and there's always a fusion between different genres of music, and they throw classical in there or they throw, some sort of, traditional drums in there, and it just blew up. But that wouldn't have happened if he just would have listened to everyone else, right? So with you finding your new voice, if you just always think about what's going to sell, you don't know that if you stay true to yourself, if that's not that next, leg up in your career.
Yeah, most definitely. Like, I think, especially with me as a writer, I will never go down that, like, oh, this is going to sell, I'm going to write about this. It's always kind of, like, edgy. It's struggle music.
Yeah.
A lot of it is struggle music. I got, like, a couple projects that I'm working on right now. The new album that I'm coming out with, hopefully soon, is definitely, it's a lot of the songs that I've been performing for years. Like, I've always been a performing artist. So I write a song and I perform it on top of the beat without ever recording it. And I've done, like, some of these songs that I've written, I've been performing for like 4 years and never recorded once. So it's kind of like a backwards way of doing it. I don't pride myself as a good recording artist. I don't say that I don't think I am a great recording artist, but I know I'm a good performer. So it's another thing to learn. But definitely on the next album, there's some songs, like there's one song in particular that was written right at the bottom, right before the climb.
Yeah.
And the lyrics are definitely like speak total truth in what I was going through at that time and what I wanted to go through. I find myself like sometimes I'll write lyrics about what I want to happen rather than what has happened. Like, I'll talk about changes that haven't even been made yet.
That's manifestation, man. Yeah. You're not gonna ever have it if you don't put it out into the world, right?
Yeah. I find words. My mom always told me too that words are so powerful. So watch what you say, Kiva. And I would sometimes I would write rhymes that I would be like, whoa, I don't know if I should write that because that's kind of fucked up and I don't want that to happen. But I'd be like, oh, it's just a rhyme. And like years later, that thing would happen. Like writing about like flipping your car going 160 or something. And like I did get into a bad accident years after I wrote that. And I was like, fucking knew it, man. Like my mom told me not to write shit like that. So now I don't write anything bad. I just write good stuff that I want to happen.
And if you're going to reference anything that is bad, you pull from your past experiences instead then probably?
Yeah, I don't write stuff that like, because there's so much, everyone says, especially in like that kind of SoundCloud era, right? It's like, oh, it's just music, it's just art. And so many people are just like writing stuff that has never happened, that never is, and maybe that may be true for them. Maybe they can put that out into the world and it never will because they don't have the temptations or whatever. But I just, not for me. Like if I'm gonna write about something from now on, it's, it's got to be like pretty true. And
I think a lot of artists, though, when you're listening to their music or you're looking at their paintings or whatever their art is, they are pulling from some struggles they've been through.
100%, yeah.
It's you look at artists, and there are a lot of artists that have mental health issues, but I think to be able to tap into that creative part of your brain to go that deep, it's a certain sort of personality. There's a certain part of like life they've been through. Because if you want to hit people emotionally, you have to have experienced something yourself to draw from, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. With the like the second project that I'm working on, aside from like this one, it's definitely like definitely different genre that I'm used to, but it's more from like the heart, from like the sappy kind of stuff. And
Adrian might have showed me a few of your things.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
Because that music video is not out yet, is it?
No.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So
that
I saw
that.
that.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
That's actually how this all came about. He had spoke about you, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, and I was like, fuck, he'd probably be pretty good for the show. And then we were sitting around, we meet once a week, and we're doing some editing and stuff, and he was just playing something on his phone, and I thought it was just him playing some of the music that he listens to, and I was like vibing. I was like, fuck, this is good. He's like, this is my buddy. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, man, this is Kiva. And I was like, no shit, man. And then that's when it's crazy because, and this is like you putting that shit out to the world. It was like 15 minutes later, you fucking called him.
Really?
Yeah, we were sitting right over there in the office there, and it had come on, and we were just sort of chatting, and then you called, and I was like, get him on the show, get him on the show.
Oh, dude, that's crazy.
Just putting it out there, right?
Yeah, like that's the thing with Adrian too. Like we grew up together as like I was over at his house at like 5, 6, 7, 5. Yeah. Dressing up as Batman and like he would be a little robber for me to. He was a good friend like that too. I loved Batman. He loved Batman too, but he knew I loved Batman. So he'd be the criminal so I could like bust him, be a little punk. And we kind of lost touch. I skateboarded, he skateboarded, he did his videos, but I was going the different route, you know? And he was working on his craft. And once I stopped drinking and I have like some mentors working with me, helping me like apply for grants and such. And once I came back to my community, I wanted to make a point on this because it's super important that for youth who feel like they have to leave their community in order to gain success, it's so untrue. Like I feel like you can build such a strong career or just a strong like community from community, right? Like I left to Vancouver trying to pursue this dream and have all these business ideas. And it wasn't until I came back that they actually started to set in motion. Like I went down to Vancouver and to be an artist and do these youth workshops where all of a sudden I went from a place where there's like maybe 10 artists who are trying to do the same thing to there's 10,000 artists who are trying to do the same thing. So now there's a way bigger surplus and these ones are working 10 times, 100 times harder to pursue this dream. So all of a sudden I went from like the top of the freaking food chain to like
big dog to the
big
little
dog to freaking algae, bro. So coming back to my community was like, wow, and now I can build a team here where I don't have to go out to Vancouver just to do a music video. I don't have to go out to Vancouver just to hit the studio, and I can not only build that community here, but I can support local and I can support my friends who have a similar dream to mine, to have their own business, to support other artists, and it's just creating this full circle. Like after I got sober, everything, the big U shape that was like slowly getting farther and just becoming a line, a road that I was going down, is slowly starting to like bend back, and like just everything is becoming full circle again.
Hone right in on it.
Yeah.
I think as well, you're talking about not having to leave where you are to have your success in today's day and age with the internet and with like AI being able to help with stuff, and the technology is just so much farther along. Before, you had to go to Vancouver to be in the studio, to meet the producers and stuff. Now you could record at your house, and the guy who then masters it lives in Germany. You know what I mean? And it's a reasonable price, and excuse me, but you don't have to go and be in that studio and pay for that studio time because you got it at your house, right? It's just everything's gotten smaller, but everything's gotten so much bigger at the same time.
Yeah. Like with AI, with internet, it's just so crazy now. I really like to still come to a studio. I have the really nice microphone. I have the program. I could record at my house, but it's something about it'll never feel like polished, like because I did it in my house.
Same as like going to the gym. It's versus doing a home workout versus going to the gym.
Yeah.
Sure, it takes an extra 20 minutes to drive there, but as soon as you step in there, something clicks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like it's work time now.
Yeah, it's time to get shit done.
Yeah. So I was working at a studio in Vancouver called the Back End Recording. Yeah, the Back End Recording. I'm working with two boys. They're called Sound Cartel. Tapatio and Arc. Alex and Carlo, shout out my boys. They working on my next album.
Tapatio like the hot sauce?
Tapatio like the hot sauce.
That's my favorite hot sauce, man. I love that shit.
Yeah. So I was working there, doing solid work. But coming back here too, even being like, oh man, like what am I gonna do? I can get my demos, like, and then remembering like, oh yeah, the homie Brandon has Stay Young Studio, which is just, it's in Kamloops, and I check it out. I'm like,
I've been there before.
Yeah, I was like, this is kind of more my, like, I love the professional, total, like, fucking decked out setup, but it doesn't feel natural to who I am.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, that's not really me. Where like at Stay Young, they got, they got a couch, they got a separate room, you can just chill. Like it's the homies, like I watched Brandon and all of the Lost Boys crew. Like I remember them doing their thing in Kamloops. And when I was still doing like some stuff in Kamloops, and it's just kind of cool to see everyone. Adrian was doing videos for the Lost Boys, working at Zoomies, doing little skate edits, and then Lost Boys were doing their shows, and then now like I leave and I do all my stuff, and I come back and like Adrian's got his own business. He's doing well, doing his video professional videography, and now he can also on the side like still do music videos and help me out with my stuff and make me like he's made some reels for me and stuff. And then boom, the Lost Boys, like I get to see Brandon going. I get to bring up my producer in, and we get to work on like songs at Brandon's studio that he's built up because he had a vision as well too. And then I go do a show, and like I see Talus, he's doing the sound at my show, and I'm like, oh man, this is like, that's what I go. I talk about at all my workshops as well. Is there's so many different revenue streams. There's so many different career paths in the music industry that isn't just being an artist or isn't just being a musician, right? Like people need music for commercials. People need there's artist management, right? Like there's tour management, there's stagehand, there's audio tech, there's like there's thousands of different positions that the music industry needs in order for it to produce these huge shows that you see. And it's not just the musician. So if you're interested in the music industry, to like think of it in a broad, like, unless you really want to be an artist, but if you're like, I don't really like being on stage, and like I don't really like recording, like there's so many other avenues that you can go down.
Yeah, it's a massive production to put on like a show, you know what I mean?
Massive, yeah.
Yeah,
so many people involved.
There's so many moving parts, and just because you don't want to be on stage, but you love music, you love the production of it, you love the everything, doesn't mean you can't be involved with it.
And those audio techs, man, they get to fucking go to the show, set it up, sometimes meet the artists when nobody's around and it's just them, and ask them one-on-one questions like, oh, what do you need for this? And then they get to see the show and they get to be a part of how it sounds, right? Or how the lights are just like making it happen. Like, not only are you pretty much are just as big of a part of the show as the artist out there. So that's a really cool thing too. Like, I've worked with quite a few audio technicians through Two Rivers Remix, and they'll just like, oh yeah, I just got back from mixing Lady Gaga. I'm like, what? Like, are you serious? They're like, yeah. And so they get to see all these shows also for free and get paid, right? Like, that's crazy.
Well, it's like with Metallica, and they have their guitar techs, and maybe those guys never wanted to be on stage, but they get to go out beforehand, and they're making sure every guitar is tuned up and switching in between, and they're backstage and switching the guitars out during the live performance. Couldn't think of a better seat in the house to watch a show from, right?
Oh yeah, you're right there. You're right size, and you're just like boom, and you're involved in it too, right? You just don't have to have that, like you're the face of the thing, which that's like a big thing sometimes that I struggle with, is like, who knows how far this will go, right? I hope I manifest every day that it'll go far, and that I can put the work in to like make an honest, good living off of it. But I do get scared sometimes, like thinking about like, how big do I want to be, right? Like, do I want to be kind of to the point where like anything you kind of do is like talked about,
and scrutinized,
or do I want to be like, yeah, I like doing shows with a couple hundred people, a few hundred people, maybe 1,000. How would I feel if it's 10,000 people, or like or even just 3,000 people? How would I feel? Do I want that? Like, after a show, it can be, like, because I like to go and mingle with fans and talk to them, and even give them a hug. But it comes to a certain point too where you're like, how much energy can you give before you give too much? And like, you still got to go home and go to bed, and like, imagine that times 1,000, and then you gotta like, it's just, you have to constantly start changing yourself as a person. The bigger you get in the industry, and I'm very starting right now, so I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much I would like that if it.
I think with that, I would wonder, with say someone that where you're at right now, and say you blew up overnight, and now everyone wants to sign you, and it's 20,000 people shows, how that would affect your mental health and your psyche.
Yeah.
Versus you're doing a show with a couple hundred people, and now it's 1,000, and now it's 3, and then it's 10, and it builds up. So you're going step by step, and you're learning the skills that you need to be able to de-stress afterwards, to be able to learn to take time for yourself. Versus if all of a sudden you just fucking blow up, and you're like, it's a lot to take in. It's a huge change in your lifestyle, and change in the people that you're surrounding yourself with, and tour managers and all this other kind of shit that comes with it. And I bet you that's where a lot of the burnout happens. You see an artist just like step away.
Yeah, I've talked to this with quite a few people in the music industry, and like them being really glad that, because the song that I just dropped, "Sleep on Me," is 3 years old. Okay. So that song's been held on to for a long time, and I wasn't very happy about it being held on to, but now that I look back, I'm so happy that it was, because it's like, it's a start to what I'm like gonna start doing. I'm gonna start like, consistently releasing and building this brand. And so many people were like, I'm so glad that now is when you're doing it, because if you did it before, when you were still, when you were still drinking, would have got burnt out, for one. For two, like, there's so many ways that you could have just screwed it up.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm very grateful that I waited as well too, because now I feel I'm gonna be doing it proper.
Is that the one that Adrian slipped to me, the music video?
No, that one's called "Just Want You." We're gonna be you guys will hear about that one day.
When's that coming out?
That one, hopefully, we're gonna shoot for. It's such a summer vibe song,
Okay.
right? Right, you feel it. I think
Yeah.
you heard it. It's a
Yeah.
summer vibe song, so we can't drop it in like December.
Yeah.
I think we're shooting to push to get this album that we have going finished, so we can release it by like the new year in January, and then that track that you heard of, hopefully like end of spring, like right the beginning of summer, so that I can just be bumped through all of summer, and then the project that we're working on that kind of coincide, like kind of they're on the same kind of wavelength. That project will be kind of at the end of summer into fall. Totally different vibe, but I'm definitely going back to my roots, because when I first started doing shows, it was just me, my guitar, and I'd sing and then I'd rap on the guitar as well. And then I slowly stopped doing that because I was like, I want to be a rapper. Rappers don't play guitar. So I started just using like the backing beats, and then like, yeah. And that's really fun. It's a different vibe, but now I'm slowly getting back to playing guitar again and being that true, authentic like self that I lost for a while.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to see the full circle again.
Everything comes full circle.
Yeah,
Man.
it does. Yeah.
Speaking about everything full circle, the question I like to ask the guests is, imagine a little window opens up, a portal, and you can look back, and there's you in Vancouver. You're spending money, you're drinking every day, you're struggling. You know, your family's worried about you. You're worried about hurting them. If you could look back and you could say something to that version of Kiva, what would you say?
I was saying it to myself every day anyways. But the alcohol was just, I wasn't hearing it, you know? And it was, you know who you are, Kiva. And that was it. And I was still saying that to myself every day. Like I'd hear it, and like, you know who you are, what the fuck are you doing? And it was every day, you know who you are, what the fuck are you doing? And it was, you know who you are. But I think to be a little nicer was just remember who you are. You know, like I was being very hard on myself and using, you know, waking up just being like this, like, you know who you are, what the fuck are you doing? And then to just shut that voice up, just drink some more. You know, just be nicer to myself and like easier on myself, and kind of just like take a step back and realize, think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. Think about why you're, instead of just like, oh, fucking, you know, I'm drinking, I'm struggling. Think about why you're doing that, and then get to the root of those problems and start your healing journey, which is the hardest thing, to start it, right? Like we were talking about earlier, like it's easy to think of excuses why not to do something, but once you start doing it, you realize like, oh, it's not that bad, and then you get it done. But it's just like with healing too. It's really hard to start healing, but once you start, you know, the rewards come pretty fast.
Yeah. Who are you?
Kiva MH, y'all, rapper.
Who are you really?
Kiva MH. I think I am a young man on a journey to share my artistry with the world, but also inspire others to do the same in a positive way. Like, something I say in the workshops is, I'm here to teach you how to turn negative thoughts into positive actions. So when kids, like I did as growing up, feel like triggered by something and they want to drink, go write a song or make a painting about how you feel and express that through the painting or the song. Write exactly how you feel into a song and pick a crazy aggressive beat, rap on that beat all aggressive about how and then release it. And who knows, it might make you money. Or if you're feeling like you want to hurt yourself or you want to hurt somebody else, you know, a lot of kids struggle with anger issues. Write that in a song or paint that into a picture and release it to the world.
Yeah. Put those emotions into something creative instead of using alcohol or something else to just drown it out.
And I think with society, like to help that is just so important to make these creative spaces for the youth to be able to do that, to create the space for that instead of creating scenarios where it's gonna push them away or push them into further addiction or alcohol related, problems.
Yeah, build that community instead of tearing it down. Sort of
Build
thing.
that community up. Build places for them to be creative.
I love that. I like to close it out with one other question. Same thing, another window opens up, but instead, you're looking forward. Let's say like 25 years. There's 50-year-old Kiva. Maybe a little salt and pepper in there. And
I already got that, dog.
If you could ask future Kiva one question, he's not going to respond though. But if you could ask him one question, what would it be?
Ooh, what would it be? Future Kiva. Did it work?
Mm-hmm.
Did it work? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And did it work in the sense of, I think everybody has a voice, a very prevalent voice in their head. And sometimes that voice will be more negative than positive, I deal with, I think the root of drinking was that voice of, brought up like old traumas, recent traumas from drinking, and you just that you wake up with anxiety or guilt from what you did. I shouldn't be doing this. I did it again. I'm gonna do it again now. Did stopping stop that? And I think he'd tell me like, yeah, it worked.
Yeah, you're an incredible young man, Kiva. I'm happy we put it out into the world for this to happen because it was meant to be with the way it all kind of lined up. I'm super excited to see what's next for you, for that album to drop. And thanks for coming on, man. This was awesome.
Thank you. Kiva MH, vocalist in the Melawmen Collective. We got an album, Fire in the Lake, on Spotify, on all streaming platforms. I just dropped a new single called Sleep on Me on all streaming platforms. We got another album coming along and a couple music videos. I do youth workshops called Healing Through Hip Hop. Go to any community that I like. You just got to bring me out. And yeah, that's me.
All right.